direction has been set. We move on to item 13, resolution adopting options of the COVID-19 mandatory testing and vaccination policy. Turn it over to, is it Nikki Mastain?
Good evening, Council. What you have before you is a recommendation from staff to City Council to adopt a resolution for the options of the COVID-19 mandatory testing and vaccination policy. During our August 24th, 2020 City Council meeting, the City Council directed staff to return to Council with a resolution requiring vaccination or weekly testing for employees, contractors, and volunteers with costs borne by the City. Time to do so would be limited to a certain duration, and the policy would include a start and end date. Per the resolution, it does include those options, and the implementation will be executed by the City Manager and incorporate any applicable federal, state, and local policy directives on an ongoing basis. I turn it over to Council.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there public comments on this matter? Seeing no public comments, any questions, comments from Council? Councilmember Orbichuk.
I do. I don't see, and I looked on here and I forgot to ask when I was meeting with the City Manager, I don't see a time off, paid time off. Am I missing that, Ms. Messay? And I could be just missing it and overreading it like 5 times. So I don't see, I see where I don't see it in here. So I think that needs to be added in, that they get paid time off.
We can include that if Council would like. When I reviewed the Council meeting on August 24th, I did not hear that as one of the items.
I wrote it down. It's on there.
Okay.
Thank you, though. And then the other thing I did say, and I guess it would be in if they chose not to get a vaccine because we're given them the option. I mean, I'm having a hard time with it because I believe in people's rights, and I believe it on both sides, so it's kind of a tough one for me. And I've heard a lot of people that have medical reasons and they cannot get the shots, not that they don't want it, they just can't get it. And then also religious beliefs. There's a lot of people that their religious beliefs just don't allow this to happen, but since we're giving them the time off paid, and if they need help getting the test, then I guess we're doing both sides. Thank you.
Those are medical and religious exemptions, which we will include.
And the medical?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilson?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to make the motion to adopt a resolution adopting the options of COVID-19 mandatory testing and vaccination policy.
All right. Motion. Is there a second?
I want to make a second, but can I ask for a friendly amendment to add the time off the medical and the religious? Can you add that into your motion, Mayor Pro Tem Wilson?
I thought Ms. Mastay said that was already in there.
It's not.
We just need council to if you mention it in your motion, she'll put it in there.
Okay. So I'll amend the motion adopting the options for the COVID-19 mandatory testing and vaccination policy to include what was it, holidays and religious beliefs?
No.
Paid time off.
Religious and medical.
Religious and medical.
Thank you. Second.
Well, we need to clarify, because the religious and medical, if you have a religious and medical issue, just do the testing. It's implied, I think. I don't think you need to call that out.
It's first and second, so it's okay.
Through the mayor.
Any further discussion?
Mayor Thorpe.
Being none, yes.
I'm regarding the statement about the religious and the medical exemptions. Really, the policy is stating that if an employee is not vaccinated, they're required to be tested weekly. And so at this point, it's not a mandatory vaccination. Therefore, the medical and the religious exemptions don't really apply in the case of this policy direction.
So So the motion as made, it doesn't, in other words, what you're saying is the motion as made is fine because it doesn't change your policy, right? So the council can proceed.
All right. Councilmember Torres Walker, you had something?
Yeah, I wish this could have been discussed, but I didn't see an end time or specific time that this was going to be in place or implemented until it lapsed. And so I had concerns about that. It just says to commence on October 1st, but it didn't say when it would end. And so is the goal to like test to infinity, or is there, I mean, was there the idea that it would come back later and then be rescinded? I'm trying to figure out what's the goal here.
So through the mayor.
Yes.
So the intent is that there would be a time period established based upon the current status of what's happening around our county, around the state. And so as an example, it might go through December 31st at first blush, and then be extended if necessary. So that end date would be something that would be established in the policy and then would be flexible depending upon what's happening locally that might impact that date. So as an example, this policy is imitating the policy of the county right now, where they're requiring first responders to either be vaccinated or to be tested on a weekly basis. And that's basically what this policy is doing. That policy doesn't necessarily have an end date established within it. And this policy, the intent would be that there would be an end date established when the policy is finalized under the resolution points that the council would be adopting tonight.
But this will require individuals to report report status of vaccination or submit to testing weekly. And where's confidentiality? Where's the anonymity? How do you protect someone's medical privacy when like you have people who have to submit that they've been vaccinated, and then people who haven't submitted that they've been vaccinated have to test, then anonymity and confidentiality is taken away? Or is it that people who are vaccinated might submit to testing anyway because the vaccine may not protect you from actually catching the virus if you come into contact with somebody? It just reduces your risk. So where's the confidentiality proposed?
Through Mayor Thorpe, if Nikki Mastay could please answer that question.
It currently depends on how you're going to test your employees. Right now, we're looking at a variety of options to, number one, not violate any HIPAA regulations and any anonymity. So right now, we're going through a variety of ways we are going to be testing our employees and trying to figure out which is the best way to keep the confidentiality.
And just to be clear, this isn't mandating anybody to get vaccinated.
Correct. They have an option of vaccine, weekly testing, and or an exemption,
and
which Mayor Ogachuk mentioned.
And the weekly testing will be paid for by the city, notified to employees to opt in at a certain day at a certain time, and they won't have to take any time off work while waiting on results. Is that correct?
Correct. And if they do have to take time off, it will be paid.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Barbanica.
So I'm opposed to this, and I will tell you why. I'm for vaccines. I wish everybody would get vaccinated. But in essence, we're making it so uncomfortable on our own employees that they have to jump through so many hoops to just coerce people into doing this. I wish everybody would go get vaccinated, but I don't believe it's our place to make life so difficult for employees that we are creating a situation where they just throw up their hands and say, forget it, I'll do it. Because that's ultimately, from the outside looking in, at least from the employee's perspective, what some are thinking, I'm sure. I have been contacted. I haven't spoken to any employees, but I've been contacted by one employee that works for the city, and that employee said, please don't do this. This is our own personal life, our own personal medical. Please don't do this. And so I just believe that, again, wish everybody was vaccinated, wish we didn't have to worry about this, but this results, the end result is, let's create so much difficulty for you that you're just going to throw your hands up and go get the vaccine. And that I disagree with. Thank you.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Torres Walker,
Abstain.
Councilmember Barbanica,
No.
Councilmember Orgachak.
Yes.
I said a yes.
Yes. Sorry, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilson,
Yes.
Mayor Thorpe.
Aye.
So the motion to adopt the resolution of the COVID-19 mandatory testing and vaccination policy to include paid time off and religious and medical exemptions passes 3-2 with Councilmember Torres Walker abstaining and Councilmember Barbanica voting against.
All right, thank you. Lee,